Hey, I'd like to welcome you to another episode of the Mission Matters Business Podcast, your source for all things business. My name is Adam Torres. You can follow me on Instagram at AskAdamTorres. Keep up with my book releases, book tour schedule, signings, all that other good stuff. Always love to connect with you there. And as always, if you'd like to apply to become a co-author of one of my upcoming books, just head on over to the website, missionmatters.com, and click on Become an Author to apply. All right, so today is a very special reunion 2020 episode. What is that? That's when I had a guest on in the past, and I liked him so much I had to bring him on back. So today's special return guest is Tanveer Kathawalla, and he's founder over at Pioneer 1890. Tanveer, welcome back to the show.
Thank you so much, Adam, for having me back again. It's so good to catch up with you.
Oh man, so I'll tell you, these podcast reunion episodes are some of my favorites. It's like I'm getting the whole family back together, getting the podcast reunion going. I just want to jump right in here because I know I saw some new things here from you. So Pioneer 1890 is a brand new company that you've launched since the last time you were on the show. Tell us a little bit more about it, please.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Adam. Well, last time I was on, I was the COO and CFO of a venture-backed satellite space company called Analytical Space. And then I was prior to doing that, I was also a venture capitalist and then a venture partner at a startup venture capital firm called Next Gen Venture Partners. And so in 2015, I had launched a boutique advisory firm called Pioneer Strategies, which was really focused on being able to help create new technology ventures and really focusing on how do you essentially create a business model for a lot of new technologies. And we worked with an underwater drone company. We worked on a solar energy project in Africa. And then, through my experience with at Next Gen and Analytical Space, I came to see and see there was a really big need is there's now so many resources to get companies off the ground and figure out the right business models. But now there's a lot of challenges. You have a lot of companies on the venture side, and especially a lot of small businesses that have growth has kind of plateaued, where that kind of next stage is kind of a little bit challenging. And I've been fortunate enough to have some experiences and have been exposed to a really great network of people who've kind of encouraged me to kind of create this new type of advisory investment firm called Pioneer 1890. And so we added the 1890 to the mix. I'm a big history buff. In 1890 was the year when the U.S. Census declared the West was completely settled. Originally up until 1890, you could go, if you wanted to be an entrepreneur or you wanted more resources, you just had to go west and there was free land for the taking. And after 1890, there wasn't any more free land. If you wanted to be an entrepreneur, if you wanted more resources, if you wanted to innovate, you had to come up with a new method or new technologies or a new process. And that was incredibly beneficial for our country. Since then, the Industrial Revolution happened, we landed man on the moon, and a lot of the technologies for you and I, Adam, are speaking today. And so we want to help build. We want to help companies. They found the first frontier. We want to help them find that next frontier, and that's what the 1890 in the name signifies.
Man, that's awesome. That's exciting. What are some of the types of company? I know you mentioned one thing. You said an underwater drone company. You mentioned. What are some of the industries and or types of companies or niches that you're looking to work with?
Yeah, so we're really focused on kind of combining two company stages. Because we really now see that as one. So you have initially venture capital is really focused on new business creation and really helping that entrepreneur think some sort of new technology, new service, and trying to grow that as big as possible. And then you've also had this other group of businesses, like these small, medium-sized businesses. They are usually are under 10 million in revenue, and usually are maybe not doing things that are as fast-moving, like providing insurance to government executives or training for people who are going to become like aircraft mechanics and doing things that are maybe a little more slower growing. And we really want to combine those type of target both those type of businesses and being able to say, hey, a lot of these venture businesses that they originally were kind of venture backed, but their growth has kind of plateaued because they found out that maybe they're working in a market that's not really conducive to a really the classic, like, let's become a $1 billion company. Maybe it's really more about becoming a more profitable company and really developing the market that they usually set out to be. And then on the small business side, there's maybe a chance where a lot of these businesses, whether they have, they may be started 20 years ago by a founder, and there may be they may need for generational succession. So they may be looking for a new management and new kind of owners, or they're in an industry that, it's kind of slow growing, but if you applied some new, new ideas and new technology, new people, you could really kind of take this company to a next level. And so the thesis of what brings everything together is we believe that when a company is founded, that the companies in every organization has some unique DNA, and what makes the unique DNA of a company is its founding, it's why it was founded, the team that makes up that company, and whatever led to that company, what made that first sale, that first product, or the first piece of revenue get through the door. And oftentimes, as companies grow older and companies kind of stagnate, they kind of lose that unique DNA. They forget that they have some really powerful competitive advantage. And what we want to do is we have a series of processes and strategies to kind of unlock that unique DNA so they can kind of reach the next level. And we can do that. We can provide support with our advisory services and our kind of advisory network. We also can provide capital service so we can invest in them. And in certain situations, we also have looking at the ability to eventually acquire companies and kind of combine them together with other companies to kind of create a platform.
So you have a unique vantage point because you're in the middle of deal flow, you're in the middle of capital. I mean, you have a lot of moving pieces to what you're doing and pulling off what you're doing. So that being said, what excites you right now? Like, what are you seeing either in innovation or in the deal flow that's coming across your desk, or otherwise that you're just like, man, this is exciting?
I just think that first off, my heart goes out to the millions of people who've been so profoundly affected by the coronavirus. But I also think it's created a very unique opportunity. I think there's going to be a completely new paradigm that emerges that post the new world we were living in. And the business assumptions we've made are no longer relevant. And so things like, the idea that, for example, Silicon Valley was seen as kind of the engine for all the technology talent. Well, now when we kind of look at remote working, we have a distributed workforce. The best engineers, the best companies don't necessarily have to be in Silicon Valley. They can be in places like Boise, or they can be in Southwest Virginia, and you can take the best of an international and national talent pool. And so you can come up with really cool ideas that way. I think number two is we now are, as things have moved online, the cost to start things, the barriers to entry, the barriers to be innovative and to test new ideas, I think has gone down because you don't necessarily need a traditional office and the traditional infrastructure that we think of starting a business. And so I think we're going to see a lot more new companies being formed as people now are being kind of displacing this kind of the old economy. And so after that period of these new businesses, we'll figure out whether they survive or move on to the next stage. There now will be the big challenge of how do you take some of those companies and start scaling these solutions faster. And so I think we're in a moment of great change. There's a lot of great opportunities, I think, and you're going to see this in the healthcare industry. We're going to see this in the real estate industry. We're going to see this in, especially I think in the technology and the way we work industry.
Man, that's awesome. I love it, and I love that you bring up this point about this whole. And I don't know if it's a real term, or if I made it up, or if somebody else did, and I remembered it. But geography bias, just the idea of thinking of the person that's in front of you as the best person for it. Maybe it's not. It's that person, like you said, in Virginia or Texas or otherwise, and maybe they can do the job better. And I love that whole thought process. And if that is correct, which in some cases it is, then what that means is that just logically the speed of innovation should increase because you have more people doing the right jobs at the right time at the right price. So in theory, just the pace at which this innovation is going to happen could possibly increase. And to me, that's exciting because we're going pretty fast already. And I'm like, oh man, where are we going next after this? I mean, that part to me is just really exciting. And so Tanveer, that being said, I mean, I can talk to you about this all day long, but we're about out of time on this episode. That being said, if somebody's listening to this and they want more information on connecting with Pioneer 1890, what's the best way for them to reach out and to connect?
So we're launching a completely new website. It's at www.pioneer1890.com. We have basically our main resources there, ways to connect with us. And whether you're a business owner struggling with what to do post Corona and and figuring out what you want to, like your business is kind of, you need to figure out a new growth plan, or you're a technology business that's trying to get to the next round of funding and trying to get, you've kind of, you're ready for that next stage. Like, we want to be helpful. We are in the business of finding, helping companies and organizations grow to that next level. And we can provide capital, we can provide advisory service, and we want to basically help entrepreneurs build their companies and their visions, because we need that creativity, that can-do spirit more than ever now.
Fantastic. Well, Tanveer, it's been great having you back on this reunion 2020 episode. Excited to bring you back in 2021, see how the rest of the year played out for you for our next reunion. And to the audience, as always, thank you for tuning in. I hope you got a lot of value out of this. If you did, don't forget to subscribe to the podcast, leave me a review on the Apple iTunes Store, and if you're watching this on our YouTube channel, Mission Matters Business, definitely give us a subscribe there, but also leave us some comments in the video. I mean, love to know what kind of projects and things you're working on. Let's keep the conversation going over in the YouTube community. And Tanveer, thanks again for coming back on the show.